Welcome to the Manistee Local Podcast, and welcome back to our loyal subscribers, and a warm welcome to all of our new listeners. This podcast is brought to you by our amazing sponsors who make it possible to bring us high-quality content each and every week. We want to extend a big thank you to them for their continued support, and if you enjoy this podcast, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your feedback means everything to us and helps us continue to improve. Also, real quick, I want to take another moment to mention how our sponsors contribute to the quality of our production. Their support allows us to invest in better equipment, top-notch guests, and research, which in turn leads to even more engaging and informative episodes. So once again, thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoy the show. Cheers. So what do you want to talk about today?
I don't know. I was going to ask you what you want to talk about.
Are we going to talk about partnerships, being married, work-life balance?
Wow, that's deep.
Spending time with family and friends, and having a career and running businesses together?
I thought we were just going to talk about something soft like wine or something.
We can talk about wine, but I think that I think this is an interesting topic that it doesn't, we have a lot of friends that are in business with their spouse, and
it sounds so romantic.
It does sound romantic. Let's go into business together. We love each other. We can do this. Right?
Yeah.
Do you
Sounds romantic.
Yeah. Do you remember when I said, I think I want to open a business?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I remember. That was over 5 years ago now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And look at us now.
Look at us now. Yep.
Tell the people how you feel.
About what? About being in business with your spouse?
Yeah.
Man, we're getting deep fast.
Never
Dive
mind.
into the deep end. Jeez. I think that it's not for the faint of heart. I think anybody who's really done it, like I said, it sounds romantic. Anybody who's really done it knows, how tough it can be. And not that I don't love you, or it just, like any little squabble that we might have or any little disagreements now is just exponentially increased, because now we're dealing with it not just in our home, in our marriage, but now we're trying to run a business together, and it's all the time. Anybody who's running a business knows that it doesn't stop at 5 o'clock.
This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash, located at 146 Cleveland Street, or just north of the US 31 bridge. Look, if you're anything like me, you're not going to spend an hour or two in the hot summer sun in your driveway trying to wash your vehicle. I don't have time for that. So I always take my truck to Just Clean. I choose their ultimate car wash, which includes a triple foam conditioner, a ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. They are the only car wash in town offering the ceramic coating. For my money, I choose Just Clean, and I hope you do too.
You can't go home and be like, oh, my coworker was a real jerk today, because it's your spouse, right? Even though we aren't working day to day together, I have a job that I go to during the week, and you are here, but it's still like making decisions, and it's a constant like dinner time talk of what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? How are we going to handle this? Where are we going to grow here? What are we, what's not working?
Yeah, and I guess I didn't think when we were developing this that the struggle to be able to separate business from our relationship would be as difficult as it is.
Yeah, but I don't want this to be a pessimistic view, because
Sure.
It's not at all. I think it's a difficult thing, but it's something that we've had to learn to navigate, right? Like, I think that one of the one thing that we did, and I don't know how we came to it, but, like we used to have disagreements, right? Like you want to do one thing, I want to do the other thing.
Yeah, we don't have disagreements anymore. We used to.
Right. We don't anymore at all. But we used to have these disagreements, and then it's like, okay, now it's everywhere. Now, and it might be about the business, but then it becomes about everything, right? And it becomes, like a personal attack. Like you don't want to do my thing, and you don't want to, you don't want to do my thing. I don't want to do your thing. And it's like, but at some point, we kind of developed this thing that like, hey, we're on a team. And if you can step back and say, okay, ultimately you want what is best for our business, our family, our marriage, right? Ultimately, that's what I want. And so my idea of what might be best for that, it might be different than what your idea is of what might be best for that. And so if we can stop and say, like an example, because it sounds like Pollyanna, but okay, maybe like you want to spend money on something. Like,
I want to spend money on a lot of things.
Do you want to spend money constantly?
Constantly.
And I want to save money constantly. And so sometimes it feels like a personal attack. You internalize things, right? Not
Sure.
that you're personally attacking me, but it's like, oh, geez, what is he trying to do? Like, run us
I've
out
always
of
been
money?
a spender.
Yeah. And you think that I'm like cutting down your ideas. And sometimes if you can take a step back and say, whoa, we're on the same team here. We're on the same team. We're both, we don't need to be against each other. You want to spend on this thing because you think it's going to help us grow, right? I want to save money because maybe I know, hey, these things are coming down the line. And if we can stop and talk, that maybe we can meet in the middle. Or maybe you say, wow, I think we really need this thing. And I say, you're right, let's make it happen. I say, sorry, just to finish. But if I say, okay, but really these things are coming down the line, and you say, oh, okay, well, we need to hold off this. And if you can separate yourself from that and say, we're on a team here.
I think we're unique, though, in that you're a CPA.
Yeah.
And you do our books. And there, for a lot of businesses, there's a firm that does it for them.
Yes.
Or an accountant, or somebody on the side is doing the bookkeeping. So we have more of a, we see the numbers immediately and discuss it almost immediately, I think, versus other small businesses.
Yes, but the team thing translates to everything.
Sure.
You're right. The example of money is because if you're running a small business, it's often a money game, But I think once we kind of came to that understanding, and I don't know when that happened and how that happened, it's easier to carry that over to everything that we do, like in the home. Like, we're a team. Sometimes I'm really busy and you need to take over with stuff. And then for the majority of the year, you're really busy and I need to take over some things. And like, you got to be a team. We can't operate on our own agenda and think that that's going to work somehow,
And if you got kids, the kids got to be on board.
Yeah, we got kids. They got to be on the team too. Otherwise, all what breaks loose.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother dynamic.
Yeah. So, I mean, the CPA thing is, yes, I do the financials. We aren't like I do it every week. So we're making real-time decisions. We're not, having a lag in getting our information and how we're doing. But and I'm familiar with a lot of these issues because I have clients that deal with, issues, and I'm very comfortable talking about it. Money can be a hot topic and a touchy topic, and it's like, well, I mean,
and it usually is with me.
Yeah.
Because like you said,
it's emotional.
It is emotional, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I think it's emotional for everybody.
Yeah.
Whether you have it or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be super emotional.
Yeah.
Because I'm always looking, like you said, I tend to foreshadow. I tend to future look a lot.
Yes.
And that in some ways that's good, and in some ways it can be a detriment because, you know, I kind of lose sight of the focus in the present. But when I'm looking at the future always costs money.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to get there now, I got to pay for this to get there. And sometimes it works between us where, you know, we can agree.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't always win the argument.
Well, and you know, one thing that people might not know about our business is, like, when we buy inventory, like, we have to pay cash for it.
Right.
You can't, you know,
there's no consignment in liquor.
No, there's no consignment in liquor. We have to pay cash. So it's a bite, you know. That's the really tough thing. Not that.
Right. Well, and then the inventory just sits there.
Yeah.
You know, if
so
we're
you
not
got to buy the
turning
right
it.
thing. Yeah.
Right. You know, I love it when people come in the store and they say, "Man, you got a ton of stuff in here," and instantly in my head I'm like, "Well, it's like $130,000 just sitting there." You know, we need to sell it.
Yeah. 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 So, not that our business is all about money. I don't, you know.
No.
But.
You know, because, well, we definitely use the business as a platform for a lot of things. But.
Yeah.
You know, the numbers will come. The people will come.
They will.
They will. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's, like you said, it's a platform for other things. But I think over the last couple of years, that's a great thing. But you also really need to be careful what you take on.
Yeah.
Because you could take on everything. And what do I always say? You can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think over the last year, I hope that you feel like over the last year that I've tried to prune some things.
Yeah.
You know, some things come, some things go, but I think, you know, the focus now is we just got to keep the plate the way it is. You know, we've got the races, we've got the store, and I think that's kind of the way it needs to be for now, especially if we're trying to raise a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, and therein lies the time question. You know, with the older two, you know, I have 2 children, you know, for those that are watching or listening that, you know, aren't familiar with us. I have 2 older children, 19 and 17, going to be 18 and 20 real quick here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my time with them is very different than my time with our 7-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was very much different dad back then.
Yeah.
You know, a lot going on, and time was more career driven than. So I don't want to get emotional this morning, but the focus is like, okay, so how do we do it though? Because we're going to be talking to some other couples. I'm really interested to see how they do it, but the conversations that I've been having with some of these people, it's all the same. Like, well, we don't have time. Yeah, crisis management. Just like throw it up in the air and see what we can do. And when you do have the time, focus on the time. But sometimes it's like time over and over again in my mouth right now. But you can't. You don't even see it. You don't even see the moment that you have sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
And that's something we've been talking about a lot lately.
Come home from work and it's like, all right, dinner time, which at our house, I'm really proud of the fact that we spend that
dinner time
together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, the kids we're all together. That's our time to talk, communicate, find out what's going on in each other's lives. So, I mean, I guess if we're doing anything right, I think we're doing dinner time right. But it's all the other stuff. I kick myself in the ass all the time when I'm just.
Yeah, it's so easy to get sucked into that, isn't it?
You know?
You got to break it. It is so hard to break that habit, but you have to create another habit. I'm not saying you have to, but if you don't want to do it, you have to. You know, dinner time is hugely important to us. I mean, not just the sitting around the table, but it's fun. You know, themed meals, Mexican night, Italian night. It's a whole thing. Like, but especially when you're busy and you're coming and going, you have to make a big deal out of the little things, right? Like,
right. I think that's.
We're not going to take off and go to Mexico with all that we got going on. It's not going to happen. So we have Mexican night, and it's a whole, you know, it's about the little things. It's about all the little moments in between all the big moments, because you can sit there and say, oh man, we don't have time to go to Mexico or go where, do whatever big things we think we should be doing. But we're keeping it all together, trying to anyway. And there's all these moments in between that we get to enjoy if we stop and look at them. Otherwise, they just go zipping right past, You just scroll right past them.
Scroll right past them.
In your feed. And it's hard sometimes in the chaos of life to stop and enjoy those moments. But I think it's really important. And all it takes is like one look at children, any children, that you're like, wow, that goes so fast. And it does.
I mean, Mary was barely 2.
Yeah. Yeah. In life in general, not just with the store, but in life in general, it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything and think that everything is so important. And, a lot of it isn't. I mean, it is. Like, we got to keep it together. We got to, like, do all the stuff. We got to keep our shit together. But,
what is most important, right? It's the family, it's the kids, it's friendships, it's community. So, the more and more, for me, the more and more, the more stuff I put on my plate, right?
It takes away from that.
It takes away from that. And within the last year or so, and I think COVID had a big part in it. I mean, we were only open for a couple of years, and then COVID hit, and that was just a complete shit show. Mm-hmm. But it really helped me kind of take stock of what's really important, right? So the focus has got to be more on those things. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I don't think I'm doing the greatest job at it, but I'm trying to.
But you can always begin again.
Yes, yeah. And we have these conversations a lot.
It's okay. Yeah. You can always pivot.
You can always pivot. As long as it doesn't cripple you.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cripple you. But, I mean, you can always... Because you're right. Okay, you'll just get rid of these things, right? Yeah, it's like weeding, right? Yeah, you go through and pick the weeds, but they crop right back up, You got to do it again. Next thing you know, you want to go. Somebody wants you to go to another meeting, or go do this other thing, or go.
Meetings.
Yeah, but what do you really need to do, and what's really important?
And then it's trying to figure out, managing that stress, the stress management of it all.
Yeah.
Because there's a considerable amount of stress that goes on with running businesses, having a career, and raising a family, and trying to be a good husband. And father,
and trying to be yourself too. It's easy to lose yourself in all of that. That's really important too, I think. And
that stress management kind of been like an evolution for us over the last couple of years. Like all the things that we try to do to
James
kind of
can
mitigate.
Be a little high strung.
100%. Yeah. So we both do similar but different things to try to mitigate. The stress, and I'm not going to sit here and say these are all the things that we do, because it's, you should try them. But I mean, when I had going through my whole rheumatoid arthritis back in the day, and that was 100% stress and a shitty diet, and that was painful for you and for me, literally for me, but hard to watch too. That was a rough moment in time.
Hard to deal with for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I started eating kale every day.
Yeah.
But like, how are you handling the stress? I mean, I see it, but there's people out there that want to know for sure. I mean, I get asked all the time. I mean, like, how do you deal with it all?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to be better about it. That's one of my goals, because, I haven't found a magic bullet. I try different things. I try to exercise every day. I try to, whatever, do all the things, eat nourishing foods is a huge thing for me. One thing I've been doing lately that helps, that I really enjoy, is when I wake up first thing in the morning, I go outside and I just like stand outside, and it sounds so like silly, but you know, you stand outside and look up at the stars, or you know, maybe the sun's starting to come up, and you see the trees, and you just see everything, and you think, wow, you know, this world is so beautiful, so amazing, you know, so magnificent.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
We could be on a
Right?
horse and buggy going across the country.
What a time to be alive. Like, we get to live here. We get to
Yeah.
live this life. Like, what am I doing? What am I so worried about? Like, you know, yeah, I you know, just got done with tax season. It's like, okay, it's just taxes. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's stressful, but like, it's all paper. I mean, like, nobody's life is on the line here.
Right.
We'll get this figured out. You know, and you stand outside, and you just, like, the other morning, there was a thunderstorm coming across the lake, and so when you look over to the west, like, this lightning is just shooting across the sky, and it was so cool because it was still dark out, and so it
Yeah.
just lit up the sky, and like, electricity is shooting across the sky. You know, like, how cool is that? So what am I worried about? You know, it just makes you think, you gotta let the little stuff go.
You got to let the
And
little
you just
stuff
gotta
go.
live this life.
Yep.
I don't know, you know?
It drives people crazy how positive I can be sometimes, but when I know I'm dealing with stress. But it's a coping mechanism, you know?
Yeah.
It really is, and it really does help. Not, you know, I don't want to be a downer on this podcast. I mean,
don't
we're
either.
doing well, but I mean, these are things that
I don't want to
You
just
know.
talk about our struggles because
Right.
we're extremely blessed.
extremely,
Yeah. And
you know. But it comes with ups and downs. I
It's
mean, we're a
ups and
small
downs.
business. This isn't like a huge
yeah,
corporation.
I think every small business
you know, for sure.
deals with
You know,
ups and downs.
there are times when you
Yeah.
thrive, and there are times when you're like, what are we gonna do? You
Yeah.
know, we have a 400-year-old building sometimes, and it's frustrating when you got to put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah. You know, different, like, you know, the online ordering thing that is just
Oh yeah, that's
stressing you out.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's
you know,
just not
so there's the
working.
money situation.
Yeah.
Right. And it didn't cost us much, a couple $100 to just upgrade, and you know the same
yeah.
company, everything. You know, the frustrating part of it is this is what they do.
Yeah. It is not
It should
working.
translate over to this new system. You would think. It's like UPS saying, I don't know if we can like deliver over here. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
you do. You're a logistic company.
Yeah.
Look at me getting fired up.
I know. I really don't want this to be a negative podcast because it's, you know, I think that in talking to the people that we know and in the line of work that I'm in, every small business has struggles, just like every person has struggles, and you don't ever know what they are. You know? Everybody does. So all you can do is deal with them, keep living, enjoy your blessings. I don't know. I don't mean to sound Pollyanna, but it's so true.
It is
Right.
true. I mean, look
You-
at the
you can
wonderful
get
people
sucked
we've
down
got to
with
work
it.
with, too.
Yeah, you can get sucked down with it, or you can make the best of it and just like rock on, you know?
Like in 2017, early
Yeah.
2017, I was sitting in the living room putting a business plan together because you were like,
Late 2017.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to do that, let's put a business plan together,
Yeah.
and then I'll look it over and see. You know,
Yeah.
you're the numbers person, right?
Yeah.
And I remember one thing you said was, you know, you're going to live there.
Yeah.
And I said, no.
Yeah.
I've been in this business for so long. I know a lot of these people that own liquor stores and convenience stores. They don't live at the shop.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be able to come and go. We'll
Because
hire
you
them.
saw them how many years after they'd begun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know. But the evolution. I mean, this is a wild ride for us, really, over
Yeah.
the last 5 years. I mean, I could have just put a simple post on Facebook
Yeah,
every
that's been
day.
a wild thing.
You know, let's look at the stack of beer I have over here in the corner, and then I don't know what the store would have been from 5 years if I never put a video out,
Yeah.
or you know, the marketing that's come out of the social media, and like the person that I've turned into, you know, in terms of like because I've always been, you know, not to boast, but I've always been a pretty damn good salesperson. I mean, that's what I've done my whole career.
Yeah.
And, but an introvert, really. And I think a lot of salespeople are introverted. You know, you thrive in the one thing that you do, and then after that, it's kind of like, you're a sweaty mess.
Yeah. Okay, now pull me out of the situation.
Yeah.
You know?
So to put myself out there the way that I have over the last few years, and to grow this social media platform that we're on, has really changed the whole dynamic of what is Manistee Beverage Company. You know, who are we?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, we had a friend of ours say, I'm not going to drop any names, but they were like, they have a very big business. And they said, you know, you're kind of turning into a destination, you know, at least regionally.
Yeah.
And that's because of how out there we are now, you know, and the amount of people that come through the door that say, I'm only here because
I saw you online. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
You know, what a crazy time to be doing business.
Yeah.
And how you market your business, right?
Yeah.
Because when we first started, I would pay for stuff. I'd pay for ads, boost posts. I need people to come in the door. We need to start making some money. I haven't paid for a thing online in a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Did you see any of this coming?
No. But, you know, it came out of necessity.
Right.
Because that was our advertising, you know. And it came out of learning what works and what doesn't work. And I think there was a lot of trial and error. So it's not like it just happened.
No.
I don't want to make anybody think that it just, like, I put out a post and I just grew into this. I mean, it was a lot of work. And there were a lot of things that didn't work.
Right. A lot of cringy content. If you go back in some of our content from the beginning, it's definitely evolved. But
you know,
I'm leaving it out
we still
there.
get a lot of not a lot of online hate, but we get online hate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the
people.
course. That's online. But it's just like when that started happening, it was like, what?
Yeah.
This is a thing. Yeah,
right.
This is a thing. This is people. But, yeah. The whole online space is a wild world. And I think we're all dealing with getting used to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Even just like Mima at home, who's just trying to use Facebook for her family and friends, can get tied into some shit that can be wild. But yeah, it's definitely changed I guess the line that we were trying to stay on. You know, like, and then where does our focus lie, really? Yeah. You know. And then try to separate the two things. Yeah. You know, because online
now it's
stuff,
really blurred.
It's kind of blurred. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say kind of. It's pretty blurred.
It's blurred.
And, you know, you want to keep feeding the machine, but you don't want people to forget about the other.
Exactly.
You know?
And we've had those conversations.
Yeah. You know, because we need to grow the thing that's got us here.
The liquor store.
The liquor store.
The liquor store. Yeah. But we also have this podcast that it's kind of a totally different thing. So we need to kind of give them each their own space.
Right. And that's hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hard for me. You know, it really is. And
emotionally or logistically?
Both, I think. You know, because there are, if I start to separate the two, because it's really not just a podcast, it's the online
space.
The space, you know, take Manistee Beverage and make it its own separate thing online, right? The difficulty in my mind, right, is that there are two sets of people that are following the same entity. Okay? Right. So if we separate that, there might be people that go, wait a minute, where did this go? Right. And, you know, attention spans and, you know, it's very hard to get somebody to go do another thing, to go follow another thing. I mean, like podcasts, for example. I love doing this, and I really appreciate everybody that's following along with this. It's considerable and way more than I ever thought it would be. But I know how difficult it is to add another podcast to the hard drive, right? Like I listen to 5 or 6 different podcasts, and that's a lot. And to throw another one in rotation, It's hard to do. So, I mean, I definitely appreciate everybody that's doing that. But again, so then if I separate things, I'm asking people to follow something else. And I've got to figure out a way to do that. You know, because my baby is Manistee Beverage.
Right.
And we got to...
And it's easy for all the other stuff to take over.
Right.
Yeah. For people to forget that we're a liquor store.
Yeah. And not a specialty shop.
A premier liquor store.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a huge selection.
Massive selection.
And a curated wine set.
Yeah.
By me. Yeah. No, not by me.
This is true. A lot of those wines are Betsy's picks.
Yeah, people don't know that James drinks a lot of those wines too.
I like people to think that you are the sommelier in the household, right?
Yeah.
And you can take on that role, right? I've got enough roles. Although I do love the wine.
Yeah.
I do love the wine. The wine set in the store is really, if I'm just going to put me in a box, it's my baby.
Yeah.
I love the wine set. The wine is the one true thing in the store in terms of alcohol that I love the most.
Yeah.
I'm most passionate about the wine, and you are too. You know, when we first opened the store, right? We wanted to be a craft beer, fine wine store. At that time, we wanted to be a specialty store. Right?
Yeah.
And we're not now. I mean, we're legitimately a liquor store.
No, we definitely have way more liquor than anything
It's
else.
our number one category.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm having conversations with Danny yesterday about we're going to get to a point, and whether or not I want to, we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to move the wine off of that.
And use it for liquor.
And use it for liquor because, we got to give the people what they want. That's our number one category. It's our number one profit center. It's the one that's been continually growing since the day we've opened the store. And the other profit centers, the beer and the wine, I don't want to say they've been stagnant. We rotate them a lot, but they're not taking up additional space in the store.
Right.
You know?
There's so much liquor out there.
There's so much.
There's so much. I mean, there's so much wine out there. The wine is infinite, but
right.
There's just a ton of liquor out there.
You know, I think if we're going to specialize, we could specialize in the wine.
Yeah.
We don't.
I mean, to a certain extent, I don't want to say
we kind of already do.
Yeah, we kind of already do because we, you know, I think we've got a good wine selection. We're not just throwing bottles up there, right?
Right,
like,
exactly.
We've got high-end wines. We've got very affordable wines, but they're all wines that we've tried. So
every single bottle.
You know, it's not like we're just throwing, what is it? Flip-flop or what are the, you know, we're not just
lifestyle wines.
Yeah, and we're not just getting stuff just to throw it up on the shelf.
This sounds snobby,
you know?
but it's not, because we have, like, you know, we could really take a dial in on like what we have on the shelf and why.
We could do a whole show on just wine.
We could, which I think we should do the next time. That's a great idea.
You know, because as we've enjoyed, yes, there's some really great bottles that are $80, $60. I mean, there's some...
A couple $100.
Yeah, there's some, you know, there's some really great wines that are like $12, $14.
You start getting
right?
in South America, I mean,
those French blends, they're so affordable, and they're all good. That's what they do. But
that is what they do.
You know... Right? Like I read one time, like the ultimate goal typically with wine is you want it to drink higher than
what you want the value.
Yeah. So a $12 bottle of wine.
It drinks like a 20.
Yeah, it drinks like an 18, 20. That's where I'm at. Yeah, that's like a weeknight bottle, pizza, whatever. You know, a great $24 bottle that drinks like, you know, $30, $40. Yes. Great, because we've had some $20-some bottles that aren't very good. Either they're selling the label, or a name, or not going to happen.
That $20 to $25 price, it can be remarkable. It really can be, but you can get some shit wine just because of a fancy label and somebody trying to
or
sell a brand more than what's in it.
Yeah. And that's been really fun to enjoy. And
we tell the team all the time, like when we're sampling wine, you know, an $80 bottle can taste like a $12 if you're not careful. And And like I said, we could. This is our next episode for sure.
So I think our wine selection is very specialized because, we don't have aisles and aisles of wine. We don't. But the wines that we carry are chosen. They're the chosen few.
They're the chosen
ones.
Well, and I think that's where education comes into play too. So if we've got like 300 labels.
Yeah.
350 labels. And, customers come in all the time looking for a specific wine. And if we don't have it, they wonder why we don't. All right. But then the conversation after that needs to be, well, we don't have that one. And if I'm here, I typically know what they're talking about.
Right.
Okay. We don't have that one, but let me show you wines that are similar.
Right.
And why we have those wines here
Right.
opposed to the one you're looking for. And then hopefully the discussion can turn into a sale, and then that customer comes back.
Right.
Number one, because they're not at a grocery store staring at labels, can't find the one they're looking for, and then they grab something that turns out to be.
Yeah.
Then they come back because they had a great experience with myself or one of the team members who are educated and know what they're talking about, and then the wine that they took home ended up being wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a huge win.
That's a huge win.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
Like, one of our favorite things to do is, so dinners are a huge thing for us. I don't know why, but it's just like, we don't eat out a lot just because of, number one, family stuff and busy, and also you're introverted. I'm super introverted. I'm very introverted. So, like, man, sometimes I just want to retreat, I just want to be home. I don't want to be out I just need, like, quiet. And
you text me and say, red?
Yeah. But the other thing that's really fun to do and also eating out is expensive these days.
Right.
And as a family, so we'll make a really great meal, or we'll have whatever, beans and rice or grilled cheese, and have a really nice bottle of wine. Sometimes that really nice bottle of wine may be like $24. It's not like we're breaking the bank here. Sometimes we'll have a $40 bottle. Wow. Okay, that's still less than what we would have spent going out to eat. But now we can sit and enjoy this stunning bottle.
Yeah.
That is kind of fun without breaking the bank. It's a fun date night at home.
Together. Because we love each other.
Yeah.
Our next episode, we'll talk about wine.
Okay.
Thank you for today. This was awesome.
Thank you, dear.